Hello, Wendy. It's so nice to have you on the show today. How are you doing?
Thank you, Elisha. I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Beautiful. And thank you so very much for being here. You see, I truly appreciate you. And you see, Wendy, oftentimes I love to thank my guest for two things. And I do this so often to the point where it has become my anthem. So, firstly, I want to say thank you so very much, Wendy, for investing in yourself. You see, you are on this platform right now because you did invested in yourself. And oftentimes, Wendy, I love to make reference to the amazing mango tree. There's some couple of months back, I was on a particular road, and just by the roadside, Wendy, there was this very tall, unattractive mango tree. And I used the word unattractive because the mango tree's got no mangoes on it, and the leaves are all dry. So I just walked past it and I went my way. But you see, just recently, Wendy, I was on that same road. And this time around, a lot's changed about the mango tree, you see. The mango tree caught my attention pretty good from a distance. And immediately I got the urge to move so close to it, of which I did. And it wowed me because now the mango tree's got a lot of mangoes on it, beautiful green leaves and healthy branches, and not just mangoes now, Wendy. I'm talking about ripe mangoes. It was such a lovely experience that day. I was so excited. Here is my point. The fact that you dedicated your time, energy, and resources to becoming the amazing Wendy that you are today, that alone has made it impossible for me to skip you. And that's why you got the request from me to be on the show because I was attracted to the fruit of all that you're doing, your philosophies, your insight, the impact your work is having, how you're offering your solutions, Wendy. These stuffs are beautiful. And just before I sent you that request, I said to myself, I've got to benefit from these beautiful things Wendy's doing, and not only me now, but even with the audience. And here we are today with the amazing Wendy. So thank you so very much for doing that, yourself. And secondly, thank you for saying yes to the invite. Because if Wendy had said nope, there was nothing Elisha could do about it. Thanks so much, Wendy.
Thank you, Elisha. I was not going to say no. You are the first podcast actually that reached out to me, and
um,
I said this is definitely, and obviously seeing what your podcast was about, I said this is definitely aligned with what I'm doing. So I appreciate you reaching out, and I appreciate you accepting with really no
yeah.
experience I have. This is the first time, so thank you.
Oh, I feel so blessed right now being the first podcast to reach out to you. Awesome. And thank you so very much as well. Thank you. So let's get started. You see, I'm quite excited to have you on the show, Wendy, for two reasons. Firstly, my interest in knowledge seeking. I believe in order for one to transition from a chaotic situation to that of a beautiful one, Wendy, I believe it takes the application of knowledge, quality information, and not just knowledge now, but the application of it. And you see, ever since I discovered that light in the Hebrew means knowledge and darkness ignorance, Wendy, I've been so keen to knowledge seeking. Why? Because I do not want to remain in the dark. So that's going to make our conversation today very important to me and even to the listeners. And the second reason why I'm excited to have the incredible Wendy on the show is for the sake of the audience. You see, Wendy, we live in an age where information is as abundant as grains of sand. We've got a lot of information flying out there. So these folks trust me for quality, high opening, and very important information, of which I am totally convinced, Wendy, that our conversation is going to be insightful and impactful. So for that reason, let's get started with your introduction. Talk to us about your personal or your professional journey because right now we are so curious. We want to know how Wendy got here. Then afterwards, I've gotten some beautiful questions for you. Okay, Wendy, over to you.
All right, thank you. Introduction on me. I am just a normal woman from Florida that I spent 20 years in corporate and I worked in the supply chain industry. I'm sorry, the supply chain department. for 20 years. And about at the 18-year mark, I really started to think about my future. And that's also when I had reached the 40-year-old mark. And I had started to wonder, is this what I want to keep doing for the rest of my life? Do I want to stay in corporate? I had had some pretty unpleasant experiences in corporate, and I knew that I didn't want to do another 20 years of those. So, I started to put into or rather implement a plan to not only leave corporate, but to help other women leave. So, firstly, what I had to do was I had to get out myself. So I started working for a new company that was remote, and it was an excellent salary. And I was thinking, hey, maybe I can just go to another company and it'll get better. And the first year was okay, but the second year, things started to look very similar to how they did at the first company that I was working at. And so I realized that, okay, this is not about the company. This is about the system, right? These issues that were coming up are systemic. So, again, I started to think about my original plan at the 18-year mark that I wanted to leave corporate completely. I knew I had gifts, talents, just creative gifts and talents as a feminine, as a woman, that I could use to start my own business and to monetize and give myself a beautiful life, and make more than what I was making in corporate. And so, yes, I finally left my remote job in last year in July. And I took a whole year sabbatical, and I just rested, Elisha. I can't tell you, my nervous system rested. I learned to not look at the clock all the time, not have to, look at my inbox all the time, not have to worry about if my boss was going to call me, on the weekends or on the evenings, or, what projects were stressing me out that I had to, deal with the next week. And I just leaned into that, and I just went out into nature, and I moved. I got divorced. Like a whole bunch of things happened last year. And so just this past July, I had reached that 1 year mark that I had left corporate. And I said, this is just wonderful. The way I'm regulated, the way I'm calm, the way I've gotten out of the rat race, I want to help other women do this, because I know I'm not the only one that's feeling this way. And I knew that because I knew women in corporate, and I knew that, we all would voice our discontent with corporate and the way that things were run. So that led me to creating the Sacred Exit, which is a private one-on-one coaching program for women that want to leave. And so that's what I do, and I am loving it. I love helping women, and yeah, that it may not be like what I'm going to do forever, but for now, it is exactly where I need to be, where God has put me, and I'm having fun, and I'm living life, and I'm never looking back, and I will never look back to go
Never
into corporate.
looking back. Never looking back. I love that.
Never.
And that's a great one. And you see, that's the result actually. When we break out of some certain situation, we tend to become solutions to others who are still stuck in that same situation. And that's one of the traits of a true leader. That part where you mentioned that you realized, it occurred to you that there are some women also who were stuck in similar situation, and you decided to use your knowledge, your solution to help them. That's a beautiful one, and I love it. I tell you, it's a great work you're doing. So you mentioned the secret exit. I wanted you to talk more on that. Can you give us some more information about that?
Absolutely. So the Sacred Exit, I've had people come up to me and they say, how can you encourage women to quit their job, and just, tomorrow just leave? And I said, no, I would never, tell a woman or advise her to do something irresponsible like that. The Sacred Exit is about, it's not just about walking away. It's not just about, oh, I hate my job or I hate my boss. No, it's about realizing the spiritual reasons why you can not continue to give your energy, your feminine energy, to these corporate machines, because they don't appreciate it, and they siphon it and they use it to basically keep building their corporate empire, and it's profit over people, and you're not really getting anything back. And people say, oh, it's at least people are getting paid, at least they have nice salaries. And it's like, listen, I had a nice salary too. I had a six-figure salary when I left, but it wasn't fulfilling me. It was matter of fact, the more I got paid, the more difficult it was for me to go to work, because they expect more from you when they pay you more, So what the sacred exit is I like to use three words, and it's the acronym SPS, and that is spiritual, practical, and strategic. So those are the three ways that I help women build a plan to leave. Now, for one woman, that might be a month. For another woman, that might be 6 months. For another, yet, it could be 1 to 2 years. But the point is that she's using the spiritual, she's using the practical, and she's using the strategic to build her plan so that she can leave responsibly, right? So she's got a financial cushion, because let's be real, that's the biggest concern, right? Is when you leave
Right,
your
right.
job, how am I going to support myself financially? So that's what we really do, is or not we, I give women a plan that's unique to them, that they can trust. And again, they're leaning on the spiritual. So it's not just about being practical. It's not just about leave your job. It's about identifying what her spiritual strengths are, because every woman has spiritual gifts, and I help her identify what those are. And she usually just goes back to her inner child. She goes back to her childhood, and she figures out what is it that she wanted to do before she came into the school system, and society started talking, and her parents started, telling her what they wanted her to do. And it's usually one of those things. And so once we identify that, then we figure out, okay, what's it going to take for you to leave financially, and what's it going to take for you to start up your business and, comfortably, move into that soul aligned work that you want to do. So that's what I help women do. And it's,
That's
I just, the fulfillment that I feel from that compared to what I felt in corporate, oh, there's no comparison.
I can relate so well. And that's one of the things that money can never buy, you see, fulfillment. That inward, deeper satisfaction. It feels so good, I tell you. You see, each time I bring amazing guests on and I click that publish button to release the episode, I feel really fulfilled, Wendy. I tell you, that inward feeling, so I can relate so well. And what you mentioned, the aspect of going back to the inner child, that's one of the principles I learned from the Bible. It talks about God always making known the end from the beginning. And that's one of the beautiful verses I love. I love that verse too. So let's proceed, all right? I noticed something, okay, that many women feel really unfulfilled in corporate spaces. Why is that?
Whew. Well, I would start by saying that the corporate machine, the corporate structure it's not really built with feminine energy or cycles in mind. It's a very patriarchal, capitalistic system. And so if you look at a woman's cycle, right? If you look at her monthly cycle, she goes through 4 different phases. And in each phase, she is strong in different ways. She's strong and she's effective in different ways. But when she has to go into a corporate office and she's expected to do the same thing over and over and over again, she has to turn off those natural phases that she is supposed to take advantage of at each phase. And she's expected to shut that down, and she is expected to be professional and to be productive and to be, definitely not use her intuition, because she's basically given directives. So she's not able to optimize her natural cycles in corporate. Whereas men, and by the way, I don't believe that corporate is good for men either, but I do believe it's built more on a masculine energy. And men, they can go into an office and they can, perform the same things over and over again, because their cycles are literally like the same day after day after day. So for a woman, it not only does it shut down her natural gifts that she has to suppress in order to please her boss, in order to meet her job description. But it doesn't meet her biologically. It doesn't fit her biologically as well. And then on top of that, a lot of times women, unfortunately, they can be horrible. They can be even worse to each other than men. And the reason that they're doing that is because that's what is demanded of them in their job. And so if women were to be able to step outside of that demand, then they can embrace their femininity and they can help other women too. They don't have to look at other women as competition, and they don't have to suppress other women because they're afraid of, a woman doing better than them, or, getting a promotion over them or something like that. So it's just not a very feminine place for a woman to be.
Mm, mm. Not a feminine place. I got it. So let's say after leaving, okay, how can women monetize their gifts?
Well, the first thing that they're going to do is not wait until they've left to monetize their gifts. So while I start working with them while they are still working in corporate, and we identify what those gifts are, and then we find, we live in the digital age. We live in an age where you can literally monetize just about anything online. And so we first find what her strength is. She could be a natural healer. She could be a woman that knows just inherently, maybe she has ancestors that have passed down to her womb work, or maybe she's an artist, maybe she's a musician, maybe she's a singer, maybe she is a shaman, maybe she is a psychic, maybe she's a tarot reader, right? So we identify what those things are, and we find platforms that she can obviously open her business, do all the things that are necessary to legally open her business and make it easier for people to trust her. And then we find platforms that are optimal for the type of service or the type of work that she offers to women. And then we give her time to start building an audience. And obviously, if it's done the correct way, and I'm not a money coach, I just want to say that, by the way, I'm not a money coach. I also point her in directions where she can learn, because that, as you were mentioning about knowledge is incredibly important. So if she doesn't know how to monetize a gift, or she doesn't know how to run a business, that is one of the things that is included in her plan before she leaves corporate. She needs to understand how to do that before she leaves, because we're not going to put her in a position where she leaves corporate and she starts her business and then she's having no results because she doesn't know what she's doing. So that's why it's spiritual, understanding the spiritual implications of why she needs to leave, the practical, which is the realistic plan that she can lay out, that she can stick to, not a pipe dream or a fantasy, but a real practical plan, and then a strategic plan, which is going to help her to actually put those things into practice and eventually into her business. And so she feels confident that she knows what she's doing at every single juncture. And hey, there have been, quite a few minutes. They're still on their plans right now, but if they are not at a particular milestone, then we push the plan out even further. It's like, okay, you
Mm,
need to understand this part of it. You need to understand the business side of it, or you need to understand the monetization side of it before we move on to the next milestone. And so that's what I help her do. And I say we because we're working together, and the plan is unique to her. I'm sorry if that
beautiful.
was too much.
Nah. I love the fact that you took your time and you explained it pretty good. And I got that. That's a beautiful one, Wendy. Okay, we have one more to go. Okay, so, mm, mm, mm. Why do you say corporate work is built on illusions?
How much time do you have? Okay, because, and again, I worked in corporate for 20 years, and I saw this firsthand. Is corporate is very good at having a front facing PR strategy, right? They're very good at making you believe that they're fair, that they are all about equality, equal pay, and but why do protected classes exist, right? Gender, race, discriminate. disability, age, things like that. Why do they exist? That's because they have been exploited, especially in corporate arena. So when corporate comes out and says, "Oh, we're all about our people and we're fair and all these things," but then you still see the gender pay gap decade after decade, the racial pay gap decade after decade. It's clear that these gaps are not narrowing, and they're certainly not closing. So that tells you that this is systemic. This is the way it's supposed to be. So corporate runs on an illusion. If you want to buy into that illusion, which people do want to buy into that illusion because it makes them feel good, then go right ahead. But I'm one of those people that I can't ignore what I'm seeing in real life versus what is being said to the public. And
mm,
time again, I have seen corporate say one thing and do the complete other. 20 years of that. And I've spoken to many people as well. I've met many people over the years when I was in corporate, right? And they have said the same thing, men and women, black and white, regardless of their race, all right? So yes, that's why I say corporate is an illusion. Is that they if they really told you how they run, nobody would want to work for them.
mm. Wow. And that's pretty sad, you know. Well, thank you for exposing that because I never knew that. Thank you. So to bring this to an end, Wendy, what would you like to leave the audience with, like a final thought? And to those folks who like to reach out to you, learn more about the beautiful stuff you're doing, like the Sacred Exit, or even open your services or ask you questions. How can that be possible?
Well, I would just, if there are any women listening that are in corporate, if you are in a toxic workplace or a toxic job, I just ask you to listen to what your spirit is telling you. If your spirit is telling you, if your soul is telling you you need to get out, then that's what you need to do. I was being poked by spirit, by God, over and over and over again, years after years. And the only thing that happened was things got worse because I wouldn't listen to God. And so what you must do is you must listen to God. When he's showing you how much worse it can get, it's because he's trying to make you so uncomfortable so that you leave. And when you leave, you have to, of course, do it strategically and responsibly, but you have to take a leap of faith. Because if you have faith in God that he will carry you and that the gifts that he's giving you will carry you, they will. There is no other outcome that's possible. So I ask women to leave, you know, if they need assistance, because listen, these women out here, they're brilliant. They are absolutely brilliant.
Yeah,
They know what they're doing. A lot of them they have way more money than I ever did. You know, they have 6-figure, probably 7-figure, 401ks and they have the means to leave and to do what they want to do. So I urge them to stop giving your energy to these corporate systems and start pouring it into yourself. And once you're full, then you can give it to other women as well, or other people as well. And if you would like to work with me, you can go to my website, www.wendybay.com, and just go to the website. And I've got a contact page up there if you want to reach out to me. And I also have, just articles that I've written that, you can read. And maybe I'm pretty sure you're going to, relate to a lot of the articles that I have up there. And I also have the handles to my TikTok, my Instagram, my LinkedIn, and my YouTube. So if you want to, follow me or watch me on any social media, you can find all of that information at www.wendybay.com. And one more thing, Elisha, on my website, I have what I call my liberation blueprint. It is my blueprint to, if you don't want to get into a coaching session with me and you want something that you can kind of work through yourself, that's what the Liberation Blueprint is for. And it is on my website for purchase right there on the front page. So you don't miss it.
oh, that's a smart one. So that's going to be the end of the show, Wendy. Thank you so very much for coming and thank you for sharing this beautiful stuff with us. It means a whole lot. Thank you.
Thank you, Elisha. Thank you for the